Hello everyone, this is Helen H. and welcome to my channel, Moss Cottage. I hope everyone is doing well today. We have a simple project today, but something that I really have been kind of into lately, and that's making some collage fodder for journals and such. And these ones are this video is a part of the hashtag Pinterest Play open collaboration co-hosted by Birdie from the Recycled Hippie Chick and myself. And this pin came from Suzanne Rose Art, and I will link that below. But I'm going to show you one that was also inspired by, the technique was also inspired by a video from Michelle from the Creative Cove, and I'll show you that one when we go through it. So what I did, super simple guys, you can make fodder, you don't have to doodle, you don't have to do any of that. It is simply watercoloring paper, stamping it, and then cutting it out. And you can use any kind of stamps that you want, creatures. I love these bird stamps, and I'm going to show you how I actually did the background as well. So I also included some sentiments, so that I have sentiments that I can use also in my collage or any journal that I want. Some I stamped over and over again. I don't have a lot of stamps here, so I used what I had. And then the stamp set with the bird also came with individual music notes. So what I did was I put them on the block and stamped them together, but when I use them, I can cut them out individually. I just didn't want to cut out all these tiny little notes and have them get lost. And then here's some together music notes from that stamp. And then some more flowers here. Okay. Now, I did try stamping on the watercolor with a different color besides black, and it did come out. You can see it came out. My issue here is that my stamp pads are not that great. They're kind of dry. But you don't have to use the black outline if you don't want to. You can use another color if you're doing, like, let's say a shabby chic book or something like that, and you don't want the harsh black line. You could certainly stamp it out on the watercolor paper with a different color ink. And then here's another one I did with green. But again, like I said, my stamp pads are kind of dry, so they didn't come out so well, but I know they would if I had really viable stamp pads. Now this is the one that was also inspired by Michelle from the Creative Cove, because I stamped him on the watercolor paper, but I stamped him with acrylic paint and not an ink pad, an ink pad. I stamped him with acrylic paint, and then I took a very lightly wet brush and used the acrylic paint to smudge the line a little bit and bring the line in a little bit. This video she did a while ago. It's called, I believe it's called Grungy Circles or something like that, but I will link it below. And this is the technique she used to make, oh, bubbles. It was grungy bubble paper. This is what she did, this technique to make her grungy bubbles. So that inspired me to do that one, but the others, just the basic watercolor paper with stamping, cutting them out for fodder. You know, we've all seen people do this, but most people are drawing their own. And this was Suzanne Rose Art was just using, I believe, some of her own stamps to make these. So first I'm going to go ahead and just show you how I, like, some of the background papers I did for the watercolor, like how to put watercolor on paper. And I know you all know this stuff, but just in case there's someone who hasn't worked with watercolor, here's my lovely palette here of watercolor paints. I have liquid watercolors. They're really cheapo, you know, liquid watercolors. And so I just squidge a little bit on the plate and then use it. And then when it dries, of course, when you use water, it will reactivate. So I've got this brush here. We'll use this big brush just to get things started here. and I'm just getting water on my brush here. If you're doing a whole thing of paper like this, I mean a whole sheet of paper, you might want to use a larger brush, you know, and I'm not painting a picture, I'm just painting colors. Now, I am not using watercolor paper. I am using mixed media paper from my art journal that I tore out of my art journal. If you use watercolor paper, you will probably get a better result. Now, it does allow me to blend the colors a little bit while it is wet, but I've noticed, like, if I let it totally dry and then come back with the watercolor, oh, I'm not even in frame. I am so sorry. If I come back and hold on a second. We're going to have to move this camera a little bit. Hang on. You're going for a ride. I'm going to, oops, sorry. Try to do this the best I can here. Okay, maybe that will be a little bit better. So if I let it completely dry on this mixed media paper, it won't, like, the lines won't go away and it won't totally reactivate. So just know that when you're using watercolor paper versus using actual mixed media paper versus actually using watercolor paper. I just don't happen to have any big enough pieces of watercolor paper here, so that's why I'm using the mixed media paper. And so that leads me to something that I'm going to tell you. I think I mentioned this in a video before, but just in case I didn't, because I talk to a lot of people about art and art processes, so I never know who I've talked to. I allow myself, if I'm working in a journal and I don't love the journal anymore, or it's too big, or I just want to finish it, to tear some of the blank pages out and use them for other things. This is good, heavy mixed media paper, you know, that you can use on another project, but I just didn't want to work in that particular journal anymore. I think I did say this actually, because the point was it had gone in too many directions. It was being used as a Bible art journal, and it was being used as for collaborations, and it was, you know, it just had no single purpose, and it was just all over the place. So I'm going to be finishing up the few pages that are started in there, like, you know, that I put paint on, cleaning off brushes and so on and so forth. And then that's going to be it with that. Okay, so I've got this very light watercolor background. Now, these are super cheap paints. If you use better paints, you'll have better pigment, and of course, it will be darker. Now, what I did for one of them, let me see, where are my little things? I'm not even sure if you can tell by looking at these, because I've cut them up into such small pieces. But there was one technique that I really had fun with, and it was using my finger. So all my paints are all getting mixed up too, so I'm making a big old muddy mess here. That's okay. So what I did was I just kind of, look, my red and blue are now purple. I just kind of made a strip with my finger like this, and then I brushed it out sideways like this. And I did that with several different colors. Let's do it with the blue. I did it with several different colors and just let it dry, and that kind of made a different texture on the background. Like that. And let's do one in the red. And I'm not going to be using this paper. It needs to dry. I'm not going to be using it right now for this demonstration, but I just wanted to show you how you could get kind of a cool effect like that. All right, so I'm going to use that one, but not today. I'm just going to put that over to dry. So let me get this out of the way too. We don't need the watercolor paints anymore. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say about these little things, about the little fodders that I made. When you cut them out, you will also get little pieces. Now, I'm saving some of these little pieces for my collage, because now here I had a failed attempt of stamping that flower with like orange paint, but it's really light. But I love the watercolor paper, and then I just loved like the shapes of some of these pieces. That's, all of these can be used in collage, little collage. So those are going to go in my little collage box. But I do have a piece of paper on the side here. that I did yesterday. And so, you know, like I said, this is only stamping and cutting out. There should be no need for a tutorial, but I'm going to do one anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and take this bird. This is from these birds and some of these sentiments. This is from Fun Stamper's Journey. I probably got, it says funstampersjourney.com. There's Birdsong is the name of the stamp set, but I don't even know if they're still in business. I have a feeling I probably got this stamp set at the crop yard sale, but it's, they're beautiful stamps. They were never used, so they're working great. Now, this is just a very cheap inker. This probably came, you know how you get the alphabet sets, and they have that little generic black inker in the middle. Well, actually, right now, this is the best inker I have. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. Let's stamp it this way here. You know, if you just stamp whichever way you want, it's going to be a nice surprise when you cut them apart, you know, what it's going to look like. So we've got him there. And I can also try to do a ghost stamp, which I did with some of the flowers. I just really played is what I did. See, so that one, it came out, but it's much lighter, right? It's much lighter than that one. He's cute too. So let me go ahead and stamp some more. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take my little paintbrush, my watercolor paintbrush here. Well, it's just, you know, it is a watercolor. It's got the rounded tip there as opposed to a square tip because I've got some water on it, but I'm going to kind of dab it a little bit dry. I know that this is not waterproof ink because I've been playing with it. So whether you do it in acrylic or you do it with a non-watercolor ink, you can kind of smudge that ink a little bit to give a more watery, grungy kind of look, if that makes any sense. So I'm just kind of reactivating the ink around the edges so they're not quite so sharp. If you want them sharp or your project requires them sharp, then, you know, certainly don't do this, or make sure you use like StazOn or what's the other one? The archival ink that we all use. I have so many of their pads and I can't remember the name. Of course, I don't have any of them here. That's why I'm using this cheap one. Okay, see how that made it? Just by blurring the ink lines, it made him really interesting as opposed to how crisp that one is. So guys, if you use, whether you use acrylic paint and then pull in the lines while it's still wet, or, you know, use water-based ink, and then you can kind of reactivate it like that. So that's that little bird there. Let me get a white. I'm just going to do some more stamping. If there's, I mean, you've seen the process, that's it, right? It's that easy. And then cutting them out, right? But the reason I like this is because I can't doodle very well. I couldn't doodle this flower, this bird, and I don't doodle flowers very well. Now, I know a lot of people do, but I can guarantee that for most of them, they had to practice, you know, to do it. And that is actually something that I want to do this year, is to practice my doodling. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you do something over and over again, then it becomes easier to do. Well, obviously, right? So, yeah, I'm going to practice my doodling this year. There's a lot of things I want to do this year, and I can't believe it that we're already in March, right? I mean, that's crazy. We're already in mid-March, actually. All right, I'm doing this here, just the ink again. So I just want to take a minute while I'm playing here. I want to thank all of you who are my subscribers who watch my videos. We have become such a good community, and not even, you know, even if you watch and you don't comment or whatever, But the YouTube crafting video or crafting community, for the most part, from what I know, has been just so kind and caring for each other. We enjoy spending time with each other. We talk to each other through the comments, so on and so forth. But that being said, I do talk by Marco Polo on Marco Polo with Birdie, the retired hippie chick. She and I do, I think I'm going to try stamp over these blue marks that I made here. She and I Marco Polo quite often and have gotten to know each other as best as you can without physically being in someone's presence. And it actually is such a good community that towards the end of this month, I am going away for 4 days with 3 ladies I have never met in person, but I met one of them on YouTube, and through that person, if you know Susan from Susan Hiles Art, I don't believe she's making videos anymore, but I think she still has her channel live. I met her years and years ago on YouTube. We've done collaborations together. And she and then 2 of her friends, one is, well, they're subscribers of mine from my channel, but I really met them through Susan, and we started Zooming once a month. Oh gosh, we've been doing this for quite a while. We've been Zooming once a month for 2 hours, and we just craft and have a live Zoom with chat. So we can see each other, we can talk to each other, whatever. Well, anyway, so those 3 ladies, Susan and the other 2, Fran, hello Fran, if you're watching, we are going away all together to spend 4 days together at a crop house, you know, a crafting space, and we've never even met each other in real. We've only Zoomed and whatever. And I am so excited. These are such lovely ladies. We have had so much fun at our, I'm going to make a ghost print of this, our Zoom chats and stuff. So we actually are now Marco Poloing with each other, so we can talk to each other anytime we want to. We can leave messages for each other, which is super fun. But I also have subscribers that I've done swaps with, and people have sent me happy mail, and I just really love this community, and you know, think that for the most part, you know, we support each other, and you know, it's just a great community, right? We give each other tips and advice and whatever in a nice way, you know. I know that there has been drama on other channels and stuff. I will not do that. Art for me is supposed to be relaxing, not challenging like that, you know, and no drama, because I don't do drama in real life. I'm certainly not going to do it online. But anyway, I just want to thank all of you who watch my videos, who comment, who have subscribed and whatever. You don't know how fun it is for me to read your comments and everything, because it's a way for me to get to know you all. And yeah, so I just wanted to say that I did hit the 2,000 subscriber mark a little while ago. It did not go unnoticed by me, by the way. However, you know, there are those people who are always looking for, not my subscribers, but people on YouTube who are looking for people who hit those marks so that they can enter any gift giving that they might offer for that mark, if you know what I'm saying. I don't want to even say the word because that will bring those trolls around. So see, I've stamped up the paper here. So now it is literally just fussy cutting it apart, right? I will be doing something. I'm not sure when, because my schedule for till the end of the month anyway is super busy. So yeah, I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure what, but I am thinking about it. And usually if I do one of these gift giving things, I like to do it for more than one person. So it will be, you know, more than one gift given away. Okay, so I'm just going to show you one more time. Let me get my paintbrush here, my little brush, and I'm just drying it a tiny bit. Let's go ahead with this flower here and reactivate that ink. I'm not really going outside the border of the flower. I'm pulling it from the edge inside, if that makes sense. So I'm just kind of grunging it up. For our grungy journals, you know, we don't necessarily need it all pristine. Or if you're doing something like vintagey or something, you might want it a little bit more grungy looking. And I'm not even necessarily bringing it all the way into the middle. I mean, I could go ahead and pull this black from the middle out. The thing is, I really want to save the watercolor paper, you know, print that is underneath, the colors and everything. So anyway, again, thank you to all of you guys. And we will be doing some more fodder making. One of the things I really want to concentrate on this year, because as you may or may not know, I don't know if I've said this out loud, but I'm seriously trying to pare down my craft room, so to speak, and all of that. Well, I need to stop buying stuff is what I need to stop doing, because when YouTube tells me I need to have something, I go and I get it. And the thing is, I've gotten some stuff that I haven't even used. But then, you know, when you think about it, it's like a lot of the stuff I have, I can make stuff similar to what I would be buying. And, you know, I know we've probably all been down this train of thought. Now, I don't know why, but I really love that scrap. That'll go in my scrap bin. I know we've all been down this, that one's a little damp. Let me not use that one yet. That's the one I just pulled the border in. Now, when I cut these guys out here, I am leaving a border, okay? Two reasons. First of all, especially with these flowers, the borders are very uneven. You know, they're very bumpy. To do a good job, I'd really want I have a pair of very small, what are they called? You know, very small scissors that are used for fussy cutting. And I don't have them here. So, but the other reason is I like having this colored around the edge because, again, it's the watercolory look. It's kind of like, okay, so we love and hate stickers, right? Sometimes stickers are great, but they've got that white border. But the white border is necessary if we're going to stick that sticker on a background that is super busy and fussy, right? Because otherwise the sticker will just get lost. So, but what you can do if you're putting it on a plain background and you don't want that is obviously you can just cut the white off. So if I cut these guys out and I leave a border, when I go to use them, I will have the option to either cut off the border or use it as it is. If I go ahead now and cut all the borders off, and then I want to use it on a fussy background, then I would have to go ahead and back it on another piece of paper, which kind of doesn't make sense since they're already on a piece of paper, right? And it's not even a white border. It's a pretty pastel-y watercolor border. So that's why I'm leaving it. It gives me the option when I go to use it to leave it or take it off. All right. So, does anybody know, leave in the comments, you people who live in more rural areas and probably towards mountains, when do black bears come out? I'm thinking probably around now. I have not seen any on our property so far, but I am really thinking, oh gosh, it's so hard for me to throw any of these scraps away because I love the watercolor. This scrap I could throw away. Yeah, I'm thinking this should be about the season right about now in mid-March that they're coming out. So if any of you get low blood sugar when you haven't eaten for a while, you know, what we refer to as hangry, just imagine how the bears are feeling when they wake up from hibernating all winter. I mean, they're going to be super hangry. So I am going hiking this afternoon with my neighbor, and we will be taking her dogs, so that usually will keep any bears away. I will ask her, because she lives here full time, when do the bears come out? I'm curious. This may or may not work with this pattern on this flower. I can't see until I cut the actual flower out, but I can still save it anyway, I'm pretty sure. So I'll show you how we could do that. Anyway, I just want to talk to you all because I haven't been on, I don't believe, since last Thursday. This month, the month of March, is just has been so busy for me. And like I said, towards the end of the month, I will be going away. And then right after that is Easter, and just a lot going on. I taught that class, and then I had a meeting, that big meeting at church that I sponsored and everything. And oh my goodness, I have just been going. And I must say, you will never probably hear me say this again. So listen carefully. I am looking forward to April because I'm going to be spring cleaning my house. Now, I know, right? Okay, first of all, there are some people who like to clean. I'll give you that. The lady who cuts my hair loves to clean. And yeah, I love to have a clean house, but I don't like to clean it, that's for sure. But I'm looking forward to that because I will be able to stay at home. There's very little required of me to spring clean my house. I mean, it doesn't require a lot of energy. It doesn't require anybody else, anyone else's help or anything like that. So, okay, I'm not loving this flower because I did it over where I did that mark making. So if I go to use it, I might just paint over that or something. But here's the thing. Remember, this is mixed media paper. This is not watercolor paper. If I had have used watercolor paper, I could take my brush in the little water and erase those completely, smudge them in, and that would have worked. So, yeah. So anyway, I want you guys to, use up what you have. I have an idea of making something else that we buy a lot. I can't do it here, but certainly by the beginning of April, I hope to do that, show you that. And that was actually my own inspiration. Whether someone else has done it before, I don't know, but I haven't seen it. So, and that's making, like I said, making some ephemera that we use all the time. But if you can't doodle, you're not ready to doodle. And here's the thing. I mean, doodling is doodling. It's your own work, right? There's no right or wrong. I just don't like my doodles. My doodles look extremely like a 3-year-old did them. I would like to have a little more finesse with my doodles. And I'm going to be practicing my sketchy faces too. Because I love to do those. I've done lots of those in the past, and I kind of lost well, I guess I gave it a break, and now I feel like I've kind of lost my ability to do that in any way that I want to use them. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And when I get it to the point where I could teach somebody easily, like give you a little tutorial on how to make a sketchy face, I will do that because I think that's something I always enjoy seeing. Always, you don't have to watch anybody's videos if it's not a topic that doesn't, that doesn't interest you. So this little guy, I really like where I put him on the paper. I'll show you. I know my hands are in the way, and I'm sorry about that. This is the one where I pulled the ink in after I stamped him. And, but he was also happened to be on a very colorful piece of the paper. And like I said, if you use any kind of watercolor that's a little grade up from the cheapest cheap liquid watercolors that I think I got from, where did I get those? Ollie's maybe? I don't know. I have much better watercolors than these, and I should have done it with those, but I was being lazy, and I didn't want to bring those supplies here, so I just used what I have here, which is the cheap. Isn't he cute? He's got more color than any of the others, the saturations there. So guys, I mean, how easy is this, right? Like I said, I will put Suzanne's, and don't forget the little offcuts you can use. I will put Suzanne's video, which was I think it might actually be a short, and I think she has her own stamps and everything, so it might actually, she might have actually done it to, just show using her stamps. But don't forget to use sentiments too, because if you use them in your art, you might want to have some sentiments. But how, just watercoloring a background, stamping it with some images and cutting it out, and you've got great fodder. You can make these and use these while you're working on your own doodle, learning how to doodle yourself, or just use these. Nobody says you have to learn how to doodle yourself if you got lots of stamps that you like. I don't have a lot here, so unfortunately I'm a little bit limited by what I was making. But anyway, I hope you found this journal helpful. Thank you again for your continued support of my channel. I really do appreciate it, and you will know when I'm going to give some gifts away. But it will not be under the words that you normally use just to keep the trolls away, because if I do it, or when I do it, I will do it for sure. When I do it, I want my loyal subscribers, my loyal commenters to be the ones who are going to benefit from it, not just someone who came to the channel because there were gifts. So I know that you all probably understand that. Okay guys, I hope you liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I ask that you do. And if you want to play along with the hashtag Pinterest Play, all the information will be below. Just go to your Pinterest board, find something that you want to make, and make it. And it can be cooking, it can be doing whatever you want, but let's not just pin stuff, let's actually make some stuff from Pinterest. So the information from the collaboration is below also. So guys, until the next video, I hope you all are truly blessed. Bye-bye.